Hi, my name is Sherry Pittman, and I'd like to welcome you to another segment of Survive and Thrive with Sherry. Thank you for joining us, and today we have with us Mr. Kevin Elliott of the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Kevin, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
You're most certainly welcome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Kevin.
Well, I'm originally from this area, Springfield, and grew up here and went to Southeast High School, played baseball there. And then after college, playing baseball in college, I came back and taught and coached at Southeast as well for 7 years. So at this time, my wife Jenny and I, we were married in 1998, and we have 3 children. And so that's a little bit of background on me.
Okay, now your role with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athlete. Tell us a little bit about that, how that came about.
Yeah, when I was teaching and coaching, we had and I didn't know anything about FCA when it first came to Springfield. Didn't really have much of an FCA ministry in Illinois at all. But at the point I ran into a few FCA volunteers. They had talked about FCA coming into the area in Illinois, and they hired a state director in '93. And when we hired a person here in Springfield, he and I just connected quickly. Brian McKenzie was his name, and he came and really ministered to me as a coach. And that's a big part of what FCA does, is the ministry to coaches. And so when he ministered to me, I saw the impact it could have. And so that was just something I wanted to be a part of. And again, he and I just connected well, so got involved from the very get-go with FCA in 1995.
Okay, and that was Brian in '95.
Brian McKenzie, yeah.
Okay, so bring us forward a little bit, and you're currently what with FCA?
Yeah, I came on staff with FCA in 2000. So that 5-year period when Brian came on, the ministry really exploded. So people got behind the ministry and really started to see fruit of what was going on, and God really used Brian in a big way. And a lot of volunteers as well. But at that point, he said, hey, it's really growing to a point where if we need another staff person, is that something that you would consider? So about a year later, I came on staff with FCA in 2000. And so that came as an area rep, and he was the area director at the time. And that was my start with FCA in 2000.
Okay, now I'm thinking that just from my perspective, and I'm not sure about our audience, but I'm thinking that FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, was and is particularly about athletes, but extends to the rest of the community as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think it obviously has an athlete's first focus. But part of what we do is we have huddles inside high schools and junior highs and colleges, and then with other, if there's pro teams around, we have ministry with them as well. But for the most part in this area, it's high schools and colleges and junior highs. But any athlete, any student can come to FCA. It's not for athletes only, but it really has an athletics first focus. We feel like that's the lane that God has given us to run in, and we're going to try and stay in that lane and really use the platform of sport to share Christ with others.
Well, I think it's an awesome platform because sports is such an intricate part of our community, and not just our community. You can spread that throughout, the country, and we're kind of dating the show here, but how about the Olympics too? And that's worldwide. So absolutely. I think sports is an awesome way to introduce people to something else that is very valuable as well as sports.
Right, absolutely.
So you've been with FCA since 2000.
Yes.
And this is, you're looking at like well over 10 years.
Yeah.
And you are now what with them?
I'm the Illinois State Director, but that obviously doesn't cover Chicago. We have a state director, a multi-area director for Chicago, but
I see.
Most of the state geographically I have, and so we have about 11 other staff members throughout the state that serve Illinois and serve their areas, and so that was just almost 2 years ago now I became state director. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You've come a long way from a volunteer with basically really even before then, there's just not FCA not existing in this area to moving forward.
Yeah, it's not something that I've ever, again, not knowing about FCA up until maybe 93 or 94, it's really been God's favor that He's opened the doors for this kind of thing, and had no idea before that. But it really has. It's been something that I think about a lot. That I would have thought 20 years ago I'd be doing what I'm doing.
Right. What do you love most about it?
I think the interaction with coaches, and also just people in the community that get behind the ministry. Just the relationships. FCA, I think, like just with life mostly, is just all about relationships. And so I feel like God has, instilled in some people competition and sport, and so that's kind of just what I've grown up in and love sports. But trying to keep it in its proper perspective is what we're trying to help with. But also, so the coaches, I guess, would be the main thing that I feel like I gravitate towards.
I like the way you said that. Now, you mentioned community, and I just think that's real key. I think that sports in general, I think that sports in general brings community together. People who would not normally come together as a group come together as a group, or they wouldn't normally take the time to come together. That works.
Right. I mean, we've always thought that we believe that FCA can capture the heart of a community because of the way sport is in our world, as you talked about. And so we don't want to just have a narrow focus that sports is just this. We feel like because of the way society has taken sport and put it up on a platform, and we see a lot of obviously bad things come from sport.
Sure.
But we want to take those athletes, those coaches that are doing things the right way, and those that do trust in Christ and that want to do things the right way. We want to put them on a pedestal and say, look, there's good that can come from sport as well. And obviously the relationships, the interactions with people that happen,
and kind of highlight the good, if you will.
Absolutely.
Now, tell us about the banquet that FCA has.
Yeah, our banquet is one of our fundraisers.
Okay.
We raise our own funds. That's how we're able to exist in all FCA areas to exist in the country. But our biggest fundraiser, or actually friend raiser is how we call it, has become our FCA banquet. And it's an annual thing. And usually it's in the spring, around March, sometimes April, but March or April. We'll bring a speaker in that's usually an athlete or a coach to encourage and just to talk about their FCA background, or how FCA's impacted them, and how God's used FCA, is how I should say it. But it's really become a community-wide event where so many people have come out and gotten behind the ministry through the banquet. And then that's really helped us to raise more friends and volunteers to do other things in the community as well. So it's really become a neat event for us. And the numbers have grown, it seems like, each year. And so it's really been a great blessing to us.
Now, in terms of someone contacting FCA, what's the best way for them to reach you all?
Well, there's our website that is centralillinoisfca.org, all spelled out. And then our office number is 241-2020. So there's two different ways to get a hold of.
That's area code 217.
Absolutely, yeah.
241-2020.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more time.
That's
from
all
the
right.
top.
217-241-2020.
Okay, great. And then the website one more time too.
Yeah, centralillinoisfca.org.
Great. All spelled out.
Yes.
Is FCA spelled out as well?
Yes.
Okay, just to be sure. So you have your banquet, and I understand there's 3 other legs to the program. FCA.
Yes.
The community.
Yeah, there's the community. In FCA, there's the 4 C's of FCA is kind of where we try to keep it simple, and just to focus on those 4 C's. It's coaches, campus,
yes,
camp, and community.
Okay.
And
camp and campus are a little different in a certain way, and I don't think we're going to go there just yet. Why don't we talk a little bit about the community? Why don't we finish up that, and when we come back from break, we'll talk about the other part. So community.
Yeah, I think that, again, just what we talked about earlier with the focus of the community. We want to, for a long time, I guess in '99, our first community event that we really wanted to serve the community. It was a focus to really serve kids that can't afford to go away to an FCA camp and get good instruction and kind of get away some.
Which there's plenty of.
Well, there's lots of competition in a sense with that. There are lots of camps. But some kids not being able to afford to go away to some of those camps, we wanted to have the best camp possible that we could have. And so in 1999, we started an FCA day camp at Southeast High School. And our focus was, again, to get some really good coaching instruction, to give them a t-shirt, to give them an FCA Bible, to give them 2 meals a day, and just serve them throughout the day. They'd go home at night, come back the next day, and just try to get some relationships with them and introduce FCA to them a little bit. But more importantly than that, just introduce them to Christ and who He is. And so it was a community outreach event.
We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Hi, my name is Sherry Pittman, and I'd like to welcome you to join us in watching Survive and Thrive with Sherry every Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. on Fox Channel 7 WRSP. You can also catch us on Access 4 at 10:30, 4:30, and again at 10:30 p.m. We look forward to having you join us watching the show. We love to talk about marriages and other things as well, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. We're back with Kevin Elliott of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. And Kevin, you were just sharing with us about day camp, and how it got started and the process there.
Right. Back in 1999, we had a desire, and some other volunteers in the area just said, hey, with the FCA camps that are going on, it's a big part of FCA nationally. Could we do a local FCA camp that really ministered to the community? And with a focus on for kids that couldn't afford to go away to an FCA camp. Most of them you go away to, it's an overnight camp. So the focus was to have it locally, and we wanted to have it at Southeast. It had all the facilities that we needed there. So in 1999 we started that with a focus of ministering to those kids, and it was really 10 to 13-year-old kids, middle school age or a little younger than that we could really introduce FCA to them, so that when they get in middle school and in the high school. But also we wanted to serve the community and having great sports instruction. We could bring out great coaches, and 2 meals a day for them, an FCA t-shirt, an FCA Bible, so that if they didn't have a Bible, they could have a Bible themselves. So that was kind of our first shot at that.
And that was your brainchild?
Partly, but probably more Brian McKenzie's the FCA director before me. He challenged me with leading it. He said, hey, I think we should do this. He said, you want to lead it? So it was one of those challenged me. I didn't know if I was up to it, but obviously with it, so many volunteers helping with that, I couldn't have done it on.
What were those early days like, Kevin? Recruiting people to take responsibility for jobs that need to be done. You obviously called on people that you knew and organizations and.
Yeah, I think it was hard, but I think once they saw the model of what we were trying to do, I think it's been one of the easiest things for us to get people involved with. I think most people want to, serve kids, and I mean, if you just bring up a kid and you're going to do something positive for them, it was very, they were very open to it.
Not too many people are going to fight helping a kid out, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Would you do presentations, or did you just talk with people? Did you call for meetings, like in a bigger room setting, or?
Probably some of both, but a lot of the volunteers that were already involved in FCA are the ones that came on. So as far with that new event, and so once we laid it out to some of the board members that we had and other people already involved, it was kind of a no-brainer. And then what they did is then called people they knew and used their influence to get others involved. So
awesome. So 3 years later, it is time to bump it up a little bit, and what happens?
Well, the kids, we obviously continued to have more kids in the day camp, and so we needed more coaches. We needed, more volunteers, and so it really became a great event for us. We had that event for about 12 years.
Okay, I said 3. I'm sorry. It's a different part of the story.
Yeah, no, we had that for about 12 years, and then what happened is one year we had a summer where Southeast was going to be under construction.
Yes.
So we looked around and tried to find another spot to do it, and we really just couldn't find a facility or a location to fit our needs.
Okay.
That would serve the kids. So we said, let's just take a year off, and hopefully next year we'll be able to do it again. In the midst of that year, I really felt like God gave me an idea, or the thought of doing a different camp over in Jacksonville, a high school camp.
So now you are the brainchild with the help of one greater than yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so Jacksonville
at Illinois College, their facilities are just phenomenal. They're for a sports camp. And so now we're going to serve some older kids. We're going to bring in college huddle leaders to hang out with them for the week, to serve them. And we're also going to bring in I mean, as best coaches we can to instruct them, and then also some leadership training, and then bring in a pastor to challenge them as well and get in the Word of God. So it really has become something that has been great for our high school huddles. So campus ministry going on in the camp ministry with community volunteers getting involved, and a lot of coaches and their families. We wanted to open up a track in a sense for coaches to bring their spouses and their kids, and we have a spouses huddle and ministry to their kids as well that week. So it's really turned into something bigger than we thought it would even be.
And all of that happens during that week?
It does. So there's a lot of volunteers, and our FCA staff statewide come in and serve, and we could not do it without the coaches. A lot of them are already involved in FCA. Some of them aren't, but they want to come. They love sport, and they want to come. That's their area, so they want to come and serve that way. And we couldn't do it without the coaches. It's about 4 hours a day, 2 different 2-hour sessions of sport clinics that we do each day that we're there.
Awesome. Where's the coaches from?
The coaches are from all over Illinois. A lot of them are local here in Central Illinois.
Sure.
But we do have, we've had a few that, Kent Bottenfield, who was a pitcher for the Cardinals, we've gotten to know him a little bit. He came last year. We have Itch Jones, the former U of I baseball coach, Darren Fletcher, another guy that's played in the major leagues for a while. So just the connections that FCA has throughout our area in Illinois have been able to bring in some clinicians, but also just high school coaches and college coaches from the state of Illinois mostly.
Absolutely. Okay, so that just sounds like an interesting time, the camp. So do you still do the day camp?
We had 3 years in a row where Southeast continued to have construction, so it was nothing that we couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
But in the midst of doing the other camp that we were responsible for, the high school camp, it really has not allowed us to pick that day camp back up. Hopefully in 2013 we're going to be able to do that.
Right around the corner.
Right.
So let me get this right. You have camps that are in the high schools and the junior high, or they're in both?
We have huddles inside the
huddles.
Yeah, we have huddles there, but we've done the camp for high school, but we've done the camp for junior high as well. But the huddles that we have on campus in the schools are, in a sense, a different part of FCA. But really what that is it's a student-led ministry, Christian athletes that are there that lead the studies, again with mostly an athletic focus.
Okay.
There are coaches that are there kind of as sponsors to help the kids in any way they need help, but it is student-led, and it challenges them in leadership as well with the athletes.
Which is great. Now, even though it is, again, still about athletes, even the huddles within the junior high and high schools, correct?
Yes.
They are still open to non-athletic people?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's just that usually you see...
It's a sports theme.
Sure.
But yeah, any kid, any athlete, any person can come to the FCA that wants to come.
Okay.
So
we have the huddles in the junior high and high school. We have day camps that have been put on hold for a second, but hopefully we'll be back soon.
Hopefully. And
then we also have the camps that are held over in Jacksonville at a great facility.
Right.
And so that's one big part. How long has the camps been going on?
The camp in Jacksonville has just been 3 years.
Okay.
So hopefully it will continue to evolve. We have about 200 athletes there and over 40 coaches, and so 35 college huddle leaders, college athletes that come in. So it's a pretty good number, and we hope to have it continue to evolve into bigger and greater things, but it's been good so far.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about community, the campus, and camp and coaches. Now, how does your coaches hear about what's going on? I know some of them are already involved, but...
Part of that is through our banquet. A lot of coaches come to our FCA banquet. That's just one event, but I think a lot of it happens through the locker room, in a sense, where peer-to-peer, coaches influencing other coaches, I think is big. And so, they spend a lot of time together. There's assistant coaches along with head coaches, and so whether it's in practice or in the locker room, I think that hopefully if they're being impacted, if God's using FCA to impact them, they're going to be sharing that. But also for those coaches to see that maybe there's something different about the guy they coach with or the guy they coach with, and what makes you different, or what allows you to stay calm in environment or in that situation, and that they'll ask. And I think that's definitely been a big part of it.
Have you heard some great testimonies as a result of, let's say, the Jacksonville camps?
Yeah, our comments and our response cards that we send out really have a purpose and a focus to not just say, hey, did you have a great week? We want to ask specific questions. What's been the most meaningful thing to you this week at camp? What's been the most encouraging thing to you? So we've tried to be specific about our camper comments, and I wish I could get a whole page of those out to our volunteers, our donors, that kind of thing, and other people, just to see the encouragement that the kids are getting. And we get to see all that, but it's hard to find a way to get those out to everybody.
Why is that?
Well, there's just so many of them, I feel like, but also having that vehicle to send it out in the right way, that's just been, I think, tough for us.
In the right way?
Just without having a long list of, comments from here, one person all on one page, it just seems a little tougher. So if you have ideas of helping us with that, to get it out, and we get it out to people, within FCA, but to get it out to other people that maybe aren't involved, we'd love to be able to get that out, just to see the impact that God is using during that time.
So what I hear you saying is that, let's say for instance, is this the problem that I write a one-page commentary as to what I got, and it's like, okay, that's a little long to get that out to someone. Can you do excerpts?
Yeah, I guess we could do excerpts, and maybe we need to start with a blog and just get out as many of those excerpts as we could, just to maximize.
Sure. Yeah. You can even pick out, like if you have 600 of them, you can go through, and there's probably categories or whatever that people generally say it got me through a difficult time. So you have like so many of those or whatever, but you don't have to do all 600. But
right.
Yeah, can just kind of cover it categorically.
Right.
And pick and choose.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. You said that in Jacksonville with the camp that you include coaches, and I thought I heard you say wives?
Yes.
Now tell me about how the wives fit into the picture here.
Well, and really, spouses are a focus for us, but for the camp, because the coaches, and most of them, and I say that because most of the coaches that we have come in are male coaches, but we do have some female coaches.
Right.
But for the majority of them being male coaches, we want them to have the opportunity to bring their spouse and their kids with them, so that, they're gone enough during the season. Let's not take them away unless that's just how they want it. But if we can bring their wife and kids with them, their spouse and kids with them, then we do a spouses huddle. My wife leads that and does a Bible study with them that week. And during that time, we have childcare where we're going to, have a VBS type of setting for some older kids, or even just childcare for the younger kids, so that they can have some time away. And,
how young are the younger kids?
Well, really from 0 to kind of 12 is what we'll take care of, because when you get kind of past 12 and 13, those kids can start going with they want to go with dad or mom, whatever, into the sport and kind of hang out with some of those older athletes and be a part of that. So. Okay.
So I think that's pretty awesome. So this is kind of cohesiveness, if you will, for the family, for the marriage.
Right, and we've gotten some really, talk about your comments earlier that we've had from some of the coaches. Jacksonville's a great town. It's not one that's near a beach or one that's not in the mountains where we have some of our FCA camps, but we still, I think togetherness is what they love. They come and do that together. And so it's not about the location per se, but it's just about the people that they're there with and the relationships they're building, and just that they're together.
You mentioned Jenny, your wife. How does this work at camp for the two of you?
It can get tough in some ways, having 3 younger kids, but as I said, we have childcare time for that part of it, but Jenny does just a great job. She's there to serve, and she does a great job. She has a great heart, obviously, and really does a lot that week, because I am putting out fires here and there for the most part, but I try to help as much as I can with that, but it can be tough, but she does a lot and leads the spouses huddle, as I said, and always get great comments on her. I probably get the most positive comments on her. I think the ladies love to have her lead, and so. Now,
getting a little personal here, sleeping accommodations for spouses. Does the women stay with all the women and the men stay with all the men?
No, that was a big part of getting the camp at IC, is that they have a couple of brand new dorms there, one a little older than the other, but the sleeping arrangements are for a college dorm pretty good. I mean, we can stay as families inside the dorms, and they have certain suites at the end where the families can stay together.
Are you still in need of volunteers?
For that camp, yeah, we need some. For the most part, when the coaches come to instruct and we bring our FCA staff, we have most of what we need. But yeah, we're definitely looking. I mean, childcare is one of the things that we always need a little bit of help in. But there are some more volunteers if we start our day camp back in 2013 this next year. If we can do that, a lot of volunteers needed for that.
That's what I was thinking that you probably do. And what kind of skills or people would you be looking for?
A variety of it. It wouldn't matter. Just time, maybe some type of sports background because they can help with the sport, but they can also maybe lead one of the huddles of maybe we try to put the kids in huddles of 5 so that they're not larger groups, but we break them down when we're doing their huddle time and Bible study. And so if they can do that. Also, we have a lot of ladies that come and help with the lunch and the breakfast part of things. So that would be helpful as well. Okay,
and you have the tables with name tags and
we have name tags, we have registration,
all
absolutely.
Of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many volunteers would you probably be looking for this time next year or whatever?
Oh, I would say 25 to 30.
Okay, and if they needed to reach you, how could they reach you?
They can reach us in our FCA office, 217-241-2020, or on our website at centralillinoisfca.org.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kevin, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it.
Thank
Tell
you,
Jenny
Sherry.
I said hi.
I will.
And we have enjoyed having you as our guest today. We're glad that you can join us. Remember that you can catch us every Wednesday morning on Fox 55 at 7:30 a.m. on Channel 7. And you can also catch us on Access 4 on Saturdays, 10:30, 4:30, and 10:30. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.